Bitcoin as liquidity source also there. And it's actually a huge opportunity for us to grow. And that's why we decided to go for Solana.
There's a lot to unpack there. Definitely a big fan of the open source architecture that you guys are championing. And I agree. I think that on Solana, we've kind of seen less of that. It's definitely more champion on EVM chains.
It's huge. It's really huge. We have cases where someone exchanged 12 million USDT to WETH. And this guy got 135,000 US dollars more than they have seen on the interface. So this is like a new 911, what they got for free by using our tech.
All right. Hello, everybody. So today I'm joined with Sergej Kunz, the co-founder of 1inch. And, to start us off, Sergey, I'm curious. You guys announced to the world that you're expanding to Solana on April 29th of this year, 2025. Could you walk us through what led you guys to that decision?
First of all, hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. So if you speak about Solana, I need to maybe explain a little bit around that. So the general strategy of 1inch is right now to expand to other chains. Since liquidity became more fragmented, we started on Ethereum. It was the only one blockchain with smart contracts and liquidity. Nowadays, we see all the layer 2s, all the other EVM compatible chains, but also we see a huge amount of volume and liquidity on other chains like Solana. But there's also Sui, Aptos. We have also Bitcoin as liquidity source also there. And it's actually a huge opportunity for us to grow. And that's why we decided to go for Solana as a low-hanging fruit. We have Rust engineers here at 1inch who were sitting together for like 30 days and delivered MVP, what worked. And a month later, we were able, after the audits, release it in production for on-chain swaps. So we are very happy about the expansion to non-EVM chains. So as a software engineer, you need to be able to write in any language. Yeah. So I started with like in the early days with JavaScript, PHP. I moved to Java space and actually covered a lot of different other fields. Like at the end, I was like DevOps engineer and security expert as well. So we as software engineers, we are normally very smart in terms of like we can adapt very fast. And of course, the architecture is different in Solana, but after some investigations, experiments, we found out actually it works actually very well. And there are also huge benefits in Solana. So you have really a short block time, and our architecture, the intent-based swap architecture, allows us then to settle trades much more efficient than on EVM, because the block times are around 12 seconds. So you have price dumps every 12 seconds based on our Dutch auction architecture. And in Solana, you have seamless auction every 300 milliseconds, 400 milliseconds. So user get the better execution compared to Ethereum. In general, if you speak about the architecture with the accounts and like data accounts and the complexity with the permissions, we figured out that was difficult, I would say, and not super painful. At the beginning, I had to do some work here at our contributor teams. They had actually like a lot of fear to jump into Solana space because it's unknown, thing. So we literally had to learn to walk, to run, and then to fly. Yeah, it was kind of pressure, also time pressure. We did it in 30 days. This first MVP, we had like a couple of weeks of experiments, and after we got the feeling, okay, it works. We had also to change our architecture. We changed from gasless execution swaps to gas costs order announcements. What costs under $1. So it's okay to pay like $0.006 for order announcement. And we still have math protection by design, what is huge pain also in Solana. And what I was also telling you about like low-hanging fruit, it was easy to like little bit modify our architecture and introduce huge thing in Solana, what is math protection by design. by protocol design. And we also publish our source code as open source code and verified code. So you can go and take a look on the source code and verify the security audits what we had compared to all others who are not publishing on smart contract program code. It is a security issue. Just if you think about the story with Bybit, for example, hackers can hack developers to hack the project or the customers. Yeah. So someone can, for example, hack Jupyter theoretically. Yeah. Steal the deployment keys and can replace the program with something else. Or maybe there's a backdoor. No one knows about that. You know, a lot of things in Solana are not done similar, like compared to EVM compatible chains. In Ethereum, we have the practices that everyone is publishing the open source code, so everyone can verify with what they interact. Right now on Jupyter, I don't know with what I interact. That's why I have built my own solution, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. I think there's a lot to unpack there. Definitely a big fan of the open source architecture that you guys are championing. And I agree. I think that on Solana, we've kind of seen less of that. It's definitely more champion on EVM chains. But I mean, wow, first you guys built an MVP out in 30 days. That's very impressive, very, very fast moving. I guess curious to touch on why in 2025, you guys obviously are fast moving. That's incredible speed. And like you were saying earlier, software engineers need to be able to move between languages, and completely agree that that's a fundamental skill set for them and makes them very valuable. But interestingly enough, maybe it's just in crypto in general, there seems to be like a large stigma around kind of actually doing that in the sense of, writing for the EVM and SVM. Why in 2025 did you guys make the decision to expand to Solana, especially since you guys were able to do it so quickly rather than earlier on? Were there any signs you guys were waiting for, or along those lines that you were like, just wanted to wait?
So honestly, we were late, I would say. I wanted already to release something in last year, like 2024, but we were really highly focused on cross-chain solution, what we released in September last year. So we offer on 1inch easy, smooth cross-chain swaps between all the compatible chains what we support. Solana is coming, so we are waiting for the security audits results for the cross-chain solution. After the release in September of cross-chain support, we had to clean up a little bit, I would say. And my wish was to release in December, but we were not really far enough with cleaning up, refactoring everything what was built. Also in the manner that we brought people to Dubai and worked out of Dubai also on cross-chain solution. It's like our hackathon mood, I would say, our culture. We came from hackathons, We have built the first version of 1inch on New York hackathon back in 2019 in May. So we are now 6 years old, I would say. And we try to keep this culture. So we try to set deadlines, and we bring special force people, like on those people who are able to deliver in this short amount of time. With investing 20% of effort to get 80% of output of the effort. This is kind of our culture. And actually the plan was to build the whole 2025 to build on Solana. And I decided to challenge it. So what I did, I started to call everyone who is responsible for all the different services. We have a software as a service backend system, what we sell to business partners, business integrators, like Exodus, Binance, Trust Wallet, Ledger, and some other. We have people who are building on the app. We have people who are building smart contracts. So I try to catch all the leads and ask them, okay, what's your plan for the next 30 days? And some of them said like, okay, this is our list. And I asked them, can we move it 30 days later and do it 30 days later? And they said yes. And then I suggested, okay, let's come to Dubai, Habibi, and let's build in 30 days Solana. So some of these people were scared, but they came, and we were working like 6 days a week. On 7 days, we had some team activities in the desert and so on. It was really funny. And people very much like it, this approach. So we focus on something. It was not the whole contributor team. We are more than 160 around the globe. 30 people came to Dubai and we delivered it really with good high quality, I would say, in good fast time.
Yeah, that's amazing. You guys, 6 years after, being birthed from a hackathon, you keep that culture alive and really launch a monumental expansion into Solana. As I think I said publicly at some point regarding you guys, I don't believe I couldn't at least name at the time a team that had done that expansion from EVM land to Solana, or at least a team that had been so successful. Obviously, you guys are the leading aggregator in all of crypto. And so, moving into Jupiter's territory very quickly is quite a feat. It'll be interesting to see if other protocols follow suit. I'm curious, why did you guys choose to initially launch the Fusion protocol over your either the aggregation protocol or the limit order protocol on Solana first? Like, why was that your first choice?
So the classic swap approach, what we invented in 2019 and improved 2020 with the multipath algorithm, this approach is more for professional users. So we have a lot of integrations for this kind of protocol, where like all the wallets, like Ledger, including, still integrate the old approach, the very well working approach, but there are some risks for the user. User can face math attack, what is very common right now in Solana. So it's more complicated to build. So you need to build more complex architecture compared to the intent-based swap. The classic approach with the aggregation is just like highly efficient thing, what can exchange one asset against another for the best execution, one single transaction in one chain, but it's not efficient as the intent-based protocol, because intent-based protocol is aggregator of aggregators and market makers and arbitrage traders and everyone who is willing to exchange and source the liquidity from maybe other chains. So if you think about like other people who are building like aggregators of aggregators, we have done it much better in a manner that we have built a very small protocol. It's like not more than 100 lines of code. In general, if you implement it in one of the chains, it uses a simple thing, Dutch auction, and the protocol tries to sell the user order for the best execution on the market by letting arbitrage traders, market makers compete between each other to fill first. Because who fill first, they get first. Even if they make maybe $2, they try to settle first because they cannot not wait because someone else will take these $2, So we let the resolvers and market makers and arbitrage traders compete. So we achieve better execution. We have seen proofs for this. So we run the intent-based protocol since December 2022. And since this day, we gave surplus what people got more than they have seen in the interface in amount of around 28 million US dollars. So it's huge. It's really huge. We have cases where someone exchanged 12 million USDT to WETH, and this guy got 135,000 US dollars more than they have seen on the interface. So this is like a new 911, what they got for free by using our tech. And these are the benefits of intent-based swaps, especially on EVM. It's gasless, so you don't pay for the execution costs. Execution costs are included in the rate, and the rate is a rate what comes from the competition. So for bigger amounts, you don't even pay for the execution costs because the market makers are very interested to settle the trade above the market rate. Market rate is when you exchange the full amount by using an aggregator and exchange by yourself with one single transaction on all liquidity sources. This is the market rate what you can get, but you can get more because liquidity is distributed. It's also on centralized exchanges. It's also on other networks, and people settle the trade, like the traders settle the trade and do rebalancing afterwards. I have seen people who borrowed from Aave, like a token, Uni token, for example, or 1inch or other, settle the trade with the user and withdraw from centralized exchange and rebalance, or bridge from through Circle native bridge USDC from other network and give the loan back. So such things happening right now with the intent-based protocol. Limit order protocol was also kind of idea to launch also as a first version, but like no one would use it, just limit order. People are interested more in just simply come and exchange one asset against another without all the complex setup or thinking about, okay, what price I need to set. So the protocol gives you the best execution, and they don't need to think about that. Limit order will also come. It's actually part of the intent-based protocol. We actually started with the limit order protocol on EVM compatible chains and came to the idea, okay, we can improve and give a swap based on the limit order protocol by just adding an extension to it. So it's a very extendable protocol, very simple, very extendable. And after that, we came to the idea, okay, we can also introduce cross-chain swaps on top of these limit orders. And again, it's just a hook, what is used on top of limit order protocol. So, and on Solana, it will come. So, how is that? We are waiting for the security audits.
Yeah, so it almost sounds like all roads kind of lead to an intent-based architecture. And because it was actually relatively easy, I believe you said around 100 lines of code to implement, that's why you guys chose to go with that. Now, earlier you mentioned some other chains like Aptos and Bitcoin. Is there anything you can tell us regarding how 1inch could, regarding those chains and the future of 1inch?
So the vision is to unite DeFi and to unite crypto. And then we'll unite the traditional finance with us. Yeah. So everyone can trade also tokenized stock or other real world tokenized assets by using our tech. It's transparent, it's efficient, it is fast on specific chains. So yeah, it's not easy thing to unite the DeFi liquidity. So we started with Solana. We plan to add Sui and Aptos. We have seen recently the Sui hack. It's really kind of terrible situation here that they got hacked, and actually the whole liquidity was removed then from the chain almost, because there was like more or less centralization of the liquidity in one liquidity protocol. That's why we plan also to add our protocols. Limit order protocol is also one source of liquidity. We have every day 50 million US dollars volume, or like an average, on limit order protocol. Other people integrate. What I have seen, I'm not completely sure, but my people said that much integrated limit orders protocol of 1inch. So they offered to create limit orders on our protocol. It's really nice to see that people who compete with us, actually, I see them as partner, but they see us as competitor. They use our protocols. They're under MIT license. They can use them theoretically easily. So our mission is to unite it, and we have a liquidity also in Bitcoin, what I mentioned before. Bitcoin is just used only in centralized exchanges, right? Of course, we have done some like TorchSwap, Torchain approaches, but it's like more, okay, there's a consensus what is secure to something. Potentially, something can go wrong, yeah, theoretically. And we thought also like we can easily integrate Bitcoin. You can theoretically buy anything on all these chains what we support by using Bitcoin, or buying Bitcoin for anything, or for meme coin, for Trump coin, for forever. Whatever you want. So, and it's easy. Technology is existing already a long time. So this escrow functionality in the Bitcoin consensus, LS contracts, and we just build on top of our limit order protocol, new extension, what works with HTLS contracts, and it works also with Bitcoin. We have proof of concept here right now running, and plan also to launch it. So everyone can also use Bitcoin for DeFi farming. I don't know, like swap Bitcoin to WBTC and or some other Bitcoin backed tokens, and provide this liquidity and lending protocol and get some yield. They cannot do it right now. Only maybe on centralized exchange by trusting someone. Yeah, they need to give away Bitcoin someone and believe that they will get it back maybe. So in our case, it's fully atomically. So no one needs to trust us because everything works atomically in non-custody meta on smart contract level. So. And there's no consensus needed. So there's no set of validators needed for this. It works because we use just normal market mechanics, marketplace mechanics, where someone want to sell Bitcoin on Bitcoin network and want to buy Trump token on Solana. And there are arbitrage traders, market makers who want to do it and do the opposite trade with the user. It's actually, I call it nowadays like P2P marketplace, what we have nowadays with the intent-based architecture and protocols. And one day I hope the traditional world will come with the traditional finances and will use our tech to settle trades for tokenized stock. Yeah.
That would be quite the sight to be able to, and that's something I think a lot of DeFi users and blockchain users in general look forward to is the day they can, swap their ETH for tokenized Apple stock, or something
Yeah.
along those lines. So, also curious, some Solana is known for having, I would say, a more application intensive team or foundation that really helps with people building on their chain. They're a lot more active than, for example, the Ethereum Foundation. A lot of Ethereum chains and L2s, they're just permissionless by nature in the sense that you can come and you can build. Did you guys reach out to the Solana Foundation at all, or did you guys just move over and deploy your Fusion protocol on Solana, or was there any communications opened up there, or any sort of help from them in that sense, or was it just completely permissionless?
So we did our research by ourselves, and then of course we reached out to all the Solidity teams, different software engineers, teams who have built something on Solana, verify our idea, our implementation, our protocol. So we got really huge support from the Solana developer community. We got some good advisors, and also the Solana Foundation also provided a lot of contacts kind of to security auditors, provided contacts to developers. They helped also with the announcement, like kind of we had a nice podcast here in our Dubai office, and kind of it was really helpful to work with them because they are of course interested to see us, our experience, our protocols on Solana, especially in a manner that we open the code so everyone can verify what they interact. We try to set the standards, kind of what are really necessary in a decentralized world where everyone don't need to trust a program what is uploaded by software engineers who are potentially could be hacked by hackers, and the code can be manipulated maybe, and someone can lose money because of this. Yeah. So yeah, we from our side, we are really happy to work with Solana Foundation.
That's awesome. It's really good to hear the developer ecosystem over there being so opening and welcoming. I'm curious, what has been the response from resolvers regarding the Solana expansion? And is there a lot of, or not that much, cross collaboration, I guess? Like, I think between maybe having resolvers execute EVM intents and execute SVM intents. Is there a larger overlap there, or is it more of a unique set of resolvers coming in and filling the intents, or what has been their response to your guys' expansion?
Yeah, so we have we got directly some of the resolvers jumped directly into solving the Solana trades. Most of them is challenging because most of them are EVM based, but there were some people who were completely also new. Some of them just joined and started to solve, who already did some arbitrage on Solana, for example, and just went through the verification process of 1inch Foundation. They need to pass KYB. So Foundation makes sure that there are no sanctioned people who operate as a resolver under 1inch network. But it's still it needs time. Adoption needs time, especially for such new technologies. If I think back about intent-based swaps when we released 2022, we have seen also less traction in terms of like resolvers, arbiters, traders. They didn't understand at first that they get a chance for new order flow, for volume flow, and they can really make money out of it because like arbitrage opportunities everywhere. You have other chains where you can arbitrage such huge trades like selling 12 million USDT to Ethereum. It moves a lot the price down in one network. But if you arbitrage with the whole network of different blockchains, you can make money out of it, and the money is easy to earn theoretically. So yeah, we hope to see maybe better adoption in the next future, but it's still, people need to understand, they need to write something, they need to invest time and so on. Some of them, like some of famous market makers are asking for a lot of money. And if I would get this money, I would set up additional team and additional company would do the arbitrage with all the different sources. So some of them are, I don't know, asking for a lot of money to being integrated. I don't understand why. It's totally unclear for me. But this is how it is. Yeah, we need somehow to deal with this and work with them, and maybe to educate. Less of them understands, because also the traditional market makers, they struggle to jump into the system. It's additional tech. Yeah, it's a new tech, and nowadays you need not just EVM knowledge, you need also Solana knowledge, and then you need also SUI knowledge, and you need to know all the security risks when you build such arbitrage bots. We have seen arbitrage bots what were drained, right, in the ecosystem. It was early 2020, I think. Someone just extracted multiple millions from arbitrage trader. There are some risks, yeah, but they need to take it if they want to make money. And this is about business. It's not retail users what want to exchange something. Yeah, from our point of view, users should not take any risks on that. That's why our architecture is built that the arbitrage traders, market makers, resolvers take all the risks in terms of cross-chain as well. So if arbitrage trader is not, resolver is not settling, it will roll back. Then the trade will roll back, and the user get funds, original funds, what they wanted to exchange if it doesn't work. Yeah, so it's atomic execution. Also, math protection. Protocols protects user by design from math, but not resolvers. Resolvers need to protect themselves. They need to use private pools like Flashbots or Jito on Solana. But they are professional, right? So they're pros, and they can care about themselves compared to people who just want to exchange. They are more advanced than the professional traders. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense for caring for the user and having atomic execution for them and protecting them, especially from MEV. Like you said, they're typically going to be less sophisticated than the resolvers and market makers. And so really the burden of responsibility should be on the more sophisticated party there. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think, like you're mentioning, back in 2022, when the intent-based architecture really started to come about and there was less of existing infrastructure or people really stepping up to do that, we could see that kind of come to happen on Solana as well. And so speaking of fusion on Solana, I tried to look into any public data, but I couldn't find any so far. Do you have any insights for us about how much volume you guys have done on Solana, trade counts, basically what the initial user feedback has been, and execution-wise, how it's going?
They are not up to date yet in June analytics, at least. I see $1 billion US dollar volume right now, but it's total for 24 hours. The dashboard, this one dashboard is not up to date. At least I think the team who is monitoring who's responsible for the Solana have more insights than me. Maybe it will be updated in maybe 10 minutes, because June is a little bit slow in terms of Solana. But as soon as I have it, I think 11 days ago, we had volume 30 days. It's not huge amount, because our community is not Solana based. It's more EVM, and we didn't introduce cross-chain yet. That's why we see a smaller amounts right now. So I see a number 169,000 US dollars in the last 30 days minus 11 days. So it's not huge, but people tried. So we didn't interact with the Solana community properly yet. Of course, if you compare it with Jupiter, it's different number, right? So, but it's growing. It's growing very well, and we try to explain to Solana people, okay, what are the benefits? For example, math protection by design. Yeah, it's growing. Total volume, I already said, today was 1.4 billion. I think right now it's 1 billion in the last 24 hours. It's huge, it's all changed together. And of course, we try to grow also Solana to explain people, okay, here, new tech from tomorrow is here already. You need just to use it.
Yeah, and hopefully this podcast can help with the understanding of that. One of the huge features you guys are offering is MEV protection. because I think that that's actually been not as much insight into MEV on Solana as there has been on Ethereum and Ethereum-based chains like MEV mitigated protocols or protocols attempting to mitigate it. Has been a huge focus, whereas it's more of a black box kind of on Solana. You know it's happening, but to what degree is it happening? It's a little lesser known, at least to me. And so I'm curious, with takers really kind of being intent-based resolvers and market makers, that really taking a lot of being on the taking end of trades. What does the future look like for liquidity providers that are typically have been providing liquidity on chain, siloed into AMMs, or even in, I guess, in some cases, like lending protocols? Where do you see the future kind of going if a lot of on-chain execution is being filled by like almost off-chain routing and pulling of liquidity sources? Where is there a future where on-chain liquidity is also being pulled from specifically for just intent-based execution swaps, or how do you see that?
We are working right now on something what could change the approach on in DeFi, how people create like trading strategies, I would call it. It's also based on our limit order protocol. So the thing is with the AMMs is the capital efficiency is not that good as compared to of what it can be. Yeah. So AMMs are well used because it's a good solution to provide liquidity and more or less to understand that nothing can go wrong except maybe impairment loss, what you can face by providing liquidity into AMM. We found a way how to do it more capital efficient. You can see like Balancer, for example. You can just create your pool. You can say, okay, 20, like you can set the weights, 20% just on ETH, 30% just USDC should be in the portfolio. But still not efficient. And you have maybe exposure to like your all assets have exposure to the weakest asset in this trading strategy. Yeah, for example, you have a meme coin, and you created a pool, or you put liquidity in a liquidity pool where in such a balancer pool, like this meme coin, what maybe get wrecked. Someone remove liquidity and or try to sell because they have a lot of them. So you have kind of more risks for that, and it can be different. Yeah, so we came to a nice solution. We plan to. I hope this year will be possible to release it. We need to go through our security audits, like always, like at least 10, and we plan also to bring it to Solana as well. We call it Liquidity Layer. We have a secret name for it in the direction of be like water. Yeah. So like, I don't know if you know, our name came from Bruce Lee, 1-inch punch. Yeah. So we use the philosophy of Bruce Lee very well to be very efficient, to be focused, you know, to not think, but feel as well. Not only think. Yeah. You need also sometimes to feel. Yeah, Uniswap got a huge amount of liquidity. You have seen recently on the Unichain, right? Through the incentives. They did some empire attack from our point of view on DeFi on Ethereum. They tried to move the liquidity from Ethereum to own layer 2. I think that's okay. Kind of some of the, I would say, positions are not super efficient, especially when I see just-in-time liquidity providing. There are some issues, yeah. So when you sit as liquidity provider in the pool, sometimes a huge trade comes. Arbitrage traders, math extractors see it and provide huge amount of liquidity by using flash loans and get all the fees and get out of this pool. So you as liquidity provider, you get less. It's kind of also one vector of attack, what you see on Uniswap very often, same as front running, sandwich attacks, and like math extraction things. And there are techniques what can do it better. So we came in 2022 to idea, we call it Uniswap. It was a AMM protocol with math protection by design. The thing is, we were too early with this. Like we were really too early. Yeah, we had already a spaceship where people just used cars. Yeah, to drive. I think techniques from this math protection we will also introduce into our liquidity layer, what will offer possibilities to people to create different strategies easily. Yeah, with high transparency and security and safety to provide liquidity. I think AMMs in general, it gives the opportunity for all the people to provide liquidity easily and to get some money out of it, what they cannot do in traditional finance. That's why it worked very well. It's also one of the innovations what we have seen in the DeFi space. Actually, about innovations, I don't know if you have seen, but Banker is starting to doing Uniswap for the design of AMM, because Banker says they have a patent in the US. It's also very interesting to see. So we own also a lot of patents, and we kind of try to protect like our innovations. We try to protect from traditional finances, because like when they come already, they will use what's already there, and it's good to have a patent for something what will be used for the future. Here's very interesting to see that actually Banker came with the first idea of AMM, used different formula compared to Uniswap, but it was similar approach with the liquidity pool. People can provide liquidity and so on and so on. I wrote publicly on Twitter and said like, guys, of course we can fight against each other. So and let the traditional finance stay a little bit longer. Yeah, like they are right now. Or we can just continue to innovate and work together as partners and just build a new thing. Yeah, what will be adopted in traditional finance. Yeah, I would say this is kind of the state right now. What I see in the space. We see more market makers coming, and we see more approaches like a Nasdaq approach, where people just set an order and market makers execute. And what we see under 1inch intent-based protocol, intent-based swaps, that market makers are pros; they can settle. And when you let them to compete by having decentralized protocol, what is only allowing to compete like a competition, then it can be very efficient for the user. And liquidity can come from AMM, it can come from order books, it can come from lending protocols as well. So sometimes it makes sense when the market crashes just to borrow a lot of assets and then do something with it without bringing it back. So you get liquidated, but you're maybe better by doing that. Yeah, this is the state, I think, what I see right now.
Yeah, no, there's a lot actually that I'm curious about on that. It's funny that you mentioned Bruce Lee's 1-inch punch. I always remember as a kid, like, you would do that with your friends and be like, oh, there's no way you can punch like that good. But funny enough, I didn't know you guys kind of use that as like your motto you were saying, because I do remember seeing somewhat recently a blog post with you guys, I think, coming into a deal with the Bruce Lee family, maybe with regards to licensing that. I can't remember correctly.
We bought a license from the Bruce Lee family. We met the daughter of Bruce Lee and granddaughter of Bruce Lee as well in Hong Kong. Nice pictures, had huge announcements, and had a nice video with Bruce Lee, and kind of he was looking similar to Bruce Lee, but it was of course a deep fake. Was interesting. The thing is, we in DeFi space, like Web3 space, we have same kind of culture, I would say, and methodology, like what Bruce Lee had already in 90s, 70s. Yeah, this efficiency, is what really makes a lot of sense. Efficiency, transparency, focus on things. Like he said, like, I have fear not from a guy who can do 1,000 different kicks. He had fear from a guy who did one kick 1,000 times. Yeah. It's what we do here at 1inch. We do one kick 1,000 times. So we reduce the source code as much as possible. We try to remove what is possible to remove to write a very simple code. And what is simple, like what cannot break. Yeah. So what, like, if something can go wrong, it will go wrong. Yeah. This is like Murphy's law. And we try to mitigate this risk by doing highly efficient things. And this is like 1inch punch, right? So highly efficient punch with the fist.
You guys are doing that, millions of times, all the time. And so curious regarding oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, regarding millions. So today, more than 1 million swaps on 1inch protocol. It's really insane to see like this huge amount of swaps and volume. The last days are really crazy. We had 3 days ago, $3.5 billion US volume in one day. It's huge.
Yeah. And actually, I guess before I move on, I'm curious, like a founder's perspective, what is that like to know, like that you've built something that like it's honestly hard, I think, for the regular person, including myself, to grasp like $1 billion worth of volume, like something that's been doing that not only today, but day over day and keeping users intact and not having like any critical vulnerabilities where users are affected. If you could go back to 2018 before you started 1inch, like how do you think your past self would view that sort of accomplishment?
So, first of all, we are not done. So it's just the beginning, I would say. So it's a multi-trillion business from my point of view. So, and I'm very proud about to have such a team. So it's not like me and Anton, my co-founder, and there are like 160 people around the globe. They are working very hard. Very, very hard. Yeah. We all together, we combine all our skills, focus it and build something. Yeah. And, I'm very, very proud to be in this position to work with these people, highly talented, motivated. If I think back into end of 2018, beginning of 2019, I couldn't imagine this. So it escalated quickly, I would say, the whole story. Back to those days, I don't know if you heard about this story. I was living in the office. I had to live in the office because I had no other choice to this time. So I had to go to the gym for a shower. I just was living my life and started to travel around the globe, to participating on Ethereum global hackathons, trying different things out. And one of these hackathons, we have built 1inch, kind of the first version. So, and I never was thinking about that. I know that I will build something what will matter, like what we have right now. It was just passion to build something what helps people and that it's used. When we recognize that people start using it after the hackathon, we actually didn't continue to build on the projects what we have built on the hackathons. We have built this decentralized streaming platform where you paid for each kilobyte we consume through payment channels, for example, by using Raiden network for the payment channels. We could continue to work on that, but we didn't do that. We every time we started to build something different because it made fun. It was funny. It was cool. It was our lifestyle to not sleep over weekend and to build something what maybe someone like it. Yeah. It is very interesting, kind of, to think back, like to look on the person who I was like 6 years ago. I think I'm not very different from to this person. I am still very passionate. I am working very hard. I write code still. So I do like pair programming with my guys here, writing right now Python microservices to improve what we're doing for our software service solution, to reduce costs, to get better responses, to get better to provide better quality of data. So yeah, it's interesting feeling, but I'm still here on the ground. I'm here without any kind of also spiritual issues. Some founders, they face a problem that they earned enough money to exist without having the need to work. I'm the person who cannot like rest for more than 3-4 days. I need to do something. I need to research something. I need to write the algorithm, or I need to build a new service. I need to play around with a new idea, challenge ideas with my co-founder. And this feels like a life, I have seen cases where Twitch founder sold Twitch for 1 billion, got like 500 to 700 million, and failed on the next company what they have built and lost himself in depressions. And Minecraft founder sold to Microsoft Minecraft, got like 2 billion or something, and also lost himself. Yeah, and it's very important to continue to do something, to build, to work on something what helps us as well. Yeah, so we help every day a lot of people, like 1 million swaps today. It's really huge to see that people are using it, because it makes sense, because it's efficient, because it's helpful for the people. And I'm pretty sure it's helpful as in general, our industry is very helpful for the humankind, because it makes everything more efficient. It's like internet. Yeah. Before internet was very terrible. In internet today, you cannot think about like something like, what should I do without internet today? Almost nothing, right? So it would be very difficult, I would say.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think money for founders it could be a blessing, but also, like you said, a curse. I wasn't actually familiar with the Minecraft story, which it's sad to see that. But it's good to know that you sound like you and your team are doing it for the love of the game. You know, you guys just love building, continuing to do so. Earlier on, you
Yes.
actually mentioned this idea of a liquidity layer. And in the actually Messari report for Q1, or excuse me, I think it was Q2. No, it was Q1. All right. Fluid became a huge execution destination for 1inch, and they can operate on this unified liquidity layer architecture. When you mentioned liquidity layer, is it something similar to that, or are you thinking about taking a different approach? And I would also be curious if you saw the Jupiter Fluid announcement somewhat recently and had any like initial thoughts, because it seems to me from an outside perspective some sort like a partnership, but also some vertical integration.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see Jupiter. They are moving very fast. I think they are right now the fastest team right now moving forward. And I had to motivate our people here internally to maybe move a little bit more faster, because we have really good sparring partner, I would say, Jupiter. They introduce nice UI, UX elements. I like them very well. So they are doing great thing. And what I plan to do very soon to speak with them about that maybe they should go also to VM compatible chains by using our tech. So what they promise is right now the super app, right? So and that's very okay, and to integrate other protocols, it's very normal. It's like one money ledger on top of other money ledgers. What we have actually built, we just aggregated Uniswap, Banker, and Kubernetes, and built something what is very useful for specific people. And Jupiter is doing that as well. In terms of our liquidity layer, it's a simple protocol, a highly simple thing. What can be extended? It's how I said, it's based on limit order protocol. It's a very easy thing. And somehow no one came to this idea, or maybe not implemented, maybe it came, but not implemented and get adoption for this. And we will try it. It's different to what you mentioned. Let's say we need a little bit time to polish it so we can come out with it also for partners. So what I said also before, what I have seen, Macho started to offer to create 1inch limit orders. And that shows also that other projects think also about the same, like Jupiter is doing already. Just integrate, so user gets actually like experience from one hand. Everything looks like from one hand, like from Apple. And this is the way to get more people into crypto, I would say. Seamless user experience. They should not think how it works under the hood. They need to be sure that what they do is safe for them. Yeah. And this we try also to offer kind of through just introducing protocols, what protects people just from all the risks what they can face.
Regarding CowSwap, how do you view CowSwap? Obviously, their intent-based architecture has grown on Ethereum and other L2s, and they primarily they chose to use batch auctions. You guys used Dutch auctions. I'm curious how you view CowSwap, increasing competition there, and also the differences maybe between going with the Dutch auctions versus batch auctions. And obviously you guys use Dutch auctions, so why are those going to be superior in your opinion?
So CowSwap is using more centralized approach, I would say. The settlement is done by specific players who like provide some collateral to like that the network or the CowSwap protocol can maybe cut on the collateral what they provide. I think you need like maybe $1 million or maybe $500,000 US dollars to be able to settle trades. And what I've seen is like it's more centralized thing, it could work a little bit better than the Dutch auction, because they let all the market makers, arbiters, traders to compete on one thing and provide like one solution. They call them solvers, not resolvers, solvers. One solution what can be settled, but the settlement of one single thing for a batch of orders is not every time efficient. Yeah. Liquidity can change, and like huge trade to settle like 12 million USDT is difficult. The liquidity can really change, the price can change, and then you cannot fulfill the requirements of minimum return, what the user expect. They play around a lot with the token, what we analyze. So my whole analytics team is closely watching CowSwap. We recognize that they pay in token to resolvers. They pay rewards, so their trades can be settled kind of without they cover the price volatility. If it goes down, they try to cover it with their own token, but the CowSwap token is used to by the solvers to get the money, so they sell it on the market. This interesting kind of tokenomics approach. So they incentivize the solvers to perform the trades, to provide better rates, and so some solvers take into account the payouts to settle better than the others. They do also partial fills. What we introduced and invented with the Dutch auction approach in our intent-based protocol. No one did it before. After like, I think, half year, CowSwap came also with the partial fills. So it makes sense to do partial fills when you try to sell it on a almost spot price. A lot of small partial fills happens very often because there's still liquidity and kind of they need to settle because they cannot wait kind of. In general, CowSwap is very complicated thing. And I don't like, and my co-founder also don't like, she doesn't like very complicated thing because complicated things break very often. And a lot of things are depending on rules, human rules, not smart contract rules, and they need to follow specific rules to do like, to not cheat. Yeah. They were like math attacks on these orders. Some of the resolvers use private pools to extract funds. A lot of things happened on CowSwap. Of course, they try to fix it with more rules and penalties, but it's not the way. It's a centralized way. So, like theoretically, CowSwap could just operate as a centralized broker. Yeah. I got the statistics results. So, in the last 30 days,
awesome.
we have seen 842,000 US dollars on Solana trades. It's not a huge amount, but still like almost 1 million 30 days. It's okay. Yeah. So back to the CowSwap thing. It's interesting approach with the intent based. So and batch auction and Dutch auction is actually not completely different things. Our Dutch auction is also batch thing. The thing is, when we have a lot of orders from different sides, different tokens, our resolvers, our market makers, they can do batch transactions. They can like take orders from one side, the other side, and can then batch them together without using other liquidity sources. It's like an engine, what needs to run on specific speed. And as soon as it's run on specific speed, so it means we have a lot of orders from different sides, different token pairs, it will run highly efficient. So we don't actually need other liquidity sources like Uniswap, because we would have enough liquidity from different sides of liquidity markets to just settle inside of the protocol itself. Yeah. At CowSwap, it's sometimes very difficult. If you have like 1,000 orders and you try to do a batch, how to make sure that every order of every user get benefits. Yeah, it's highly difficult to do it in a batch transaction, batch architecture. In our case, we fixed this issue with just Dutch auction. So you cannot do anything wrong. Yeah, the price for the user is getting worse and worse with every block until market rate and then min return. There's still arbitrage opportunity for the arbitrage traders. And in CowSwap, you need really to look into the cold data, what the solvers provide. You need to understand, okay, maybe one order will get min return. Yeah. But why? Like, why should someone get min return like less than they have seen in the interface? This is the difficulty, and that's why we see like CowSwap as an interesting experiment, but not as a technology of the future, because it's highly complex, highly centralized from our point of view, and can be easily replaced with ours. What also Uniswap recognized from our point of view, they introduced also Dutch auction approach. If you look into the white paper, they mentioned our 1inch fusion intent-based swap protocol in the white paper and used our Dutch auction approach as well.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring up Uniswap X because, I was going to bring up that they use Dutch auctions. I was pretty sure, even though I don't believe, I haven't checked the data recently, that it has gotten as much traction from.
They're losing volume. they're losing volume. They introduced interface fees, and you see when you look on the market share of the intent-based protocols. So Uniswap is like getting less and less volume.
Do you guys charge any interface fees?
There are no interface fees here.
Okay.
At all.
That's awesome to hear. It's better for the end user, lower costs for them, which is very exciting.
The thing is, you know why we should extract any money here, because we are at the beginning. We are that small. Traditional market that big, and we are that small. You know why we should extract right now 100 to 200,000 US dollars every day. What Uniswap is doing. Uniswap is earning 100 to 200,000 every day by charging 25 bips on interface fees. We have no need for this. So we have, especially from 1inch labs structure, we have kind of multiple organizations. We covered our cost by having B2B integrations. We are integrated in all the wallets. We have arbitrage traders. We have also people who just do use our APIs for different other things. We have our Infura replacement, Alchemy Web3 RPC endpoint replacement. So we build our own tech with like really latest new technology, what gives really good performance for Web3 calls. Like every wallet needs to perform Web3 calls, right? So to get the balance, to get whatever else, and to perform the transactions. And we have built a gateway for this, what is highly efficient, and we get like subscription payouts from our customers, and we can cover our software development costs. So we are good to go, and we can exist forever right now. So
yeah, it almost reminds me. One, it's refreshing to see your approach of you're still so early. I think sometimes, even though crypto's been around for so long, like you are right in the sense that the traditional financial markets are so much larger. There's still so much room to grow. It almost reminds me a little bit of, I think for like a very long time, Uber, they focused on, instead of charging higher fees to the users, just expanding and gaining more market share. Because ultimately it was kind of going to be, they saw it as a very winner take most or all sort of market. And so in their case, gaining as much market share as possible was the most aspect.
what's happening with Uniswap right now? Uniswap is using funds to buying ads. So also we have analytics team in terms of marketing as well, and we have seen a lot of like ads from Uniswap. So they use 100 to 200,000 US dollars for marketing to get more users. I'm fine with this. They get more people into crypto, and they will anyway hear about 1inch, and they will anyway come to us because we have better execution, we have better product. I'm okay that they spend money to onboard new people, and they will come anyway to us.
They're basically they're becoming the marketing arm for 1inch,
Yes.
bringing in new.
Yes.
That's amazing. I guess we're kind of coming up on time here. I have some closing questions for you regarding 1inch, specifically. What are you and the 1inch team excited for the future, and what does the next 12 to 24 months look like for you and your team?
So the next 12 months is working on the liquidity layer, working on integrating other networks. So I had recently interesting thoughts we could integrate also Ethereum Classic. Yeah. So I have seen 180 million US dollars volume on Ethereum Classic, like token on centralized exchanges. And we can offer also seamless experience like on centralized exchange for the cross-chain swaps. It's just one signature what you give, one aura. And then the magic happens under the hood. We can also even offer to buy Ethereum Classic tokens if you want. Sui, Aptos coming. There's an independent team working on Ton network. Near protocol, we plan also to add. We are looking also for teams. So every team who wants to contribute and build based on our spec, on our protocol spec and reference implementation, a protocol for other network, what we don't support yet, you are welcome to come. There are some bounties for this. So some grants. So this is kind of our goals right now for the 12 months to unite the DeFi and to get more centralized exchange users using our services. So, of course, we expand with our software service products to our partners, get integrations everywhere where we can. And 24, months is a little bit difficult because the market changed a lot, so we need to adjust our strategy very often. In general, strategies expand DeFi to crypto and crypto to traditional finance. We are working on a license in UAE, United Arab Emirates, for a kind of pilot project here, so we can offer as a broker dealer to like our APIs for swaps, for trades, for institutionals, because institutionals, some of them can work with the liquidity of DeFi, but some of them cannot. And we can actually do the settlement. The trade is between B2B partner and us, and we do the settlement by ourselves with the liquidity of DeFi. We have ML compliance service, screening service. We look into liquidity. We look into wallets, what have like limit orders, for example, with what we settle, that they are clean. So we can theoretically fulfill all the requirements for specific institutionals, even for some banks. So there are some banks very interested to use our tech, our APIs, and the protocols for buying ETH, selling ETH, buying Bitcoin, some other assets, what they need to buy and sell for customers. So there are huge benefits to use our tech. They don't need to deposit, They don't need to rebalance afterwards, or withdraw assets from Kraken, for example, or trust someone that they will give Bitcoin back for stable tokens. Can be done through program, what ensures that it's executions atomically and non-custody. So this, of course, we discover, but more we try to build new protocols. We try to improve the protocols. We need to redesign architecture, what we have done with Solana. So we will see what's happening on Sui. I see Sui and Aptos very promising blockchains, layer one blockchains, very fast, fast finality, and let's see. It's kind of a lot of I would say opportunities to expand for us here.
Amazing. And today, in 2025, if you could rewind when you were first building in crypto and first getting going, but you fast forward and you dropped into today, where do you think you see the future going, and what would you be focusing on building? Like, where do you see the opportunity for new builders to come in and really like lay claim in crypto today?
That's a difficult question. So in terms of like what we are doing is difficult to compete. Yeah, you need a lot of understanding in a lot of things. I'm still learning by myself. Like recently we came to something what can improve better algorithm execution. We have a lot of AI topics right now, right? It's also kind of difficult in terms of, like OpenAI will release tomorrow something and will replace you and other startups, with just one new product. I have also my pet project. I play around with AI as well, and I try to fix my own problem. It's not directly crypto related, but also I would say it helps me at least. I built right now a news aggregator. So I need to know when a competitor launched a new feature. I need to know about that. And if something happens in the market, I need to understand that it's happening, and I need to see that it's highlighting right now. And the major topics I need to see. So I use AI for this small prototype. It's also interesting kind of thing. I think like maybe a mix between crypto and AI could be something. Yeah. Still in crypto, a lot of things are not finished, built. And can be built with new approaches. You need to always think about, for example, like if you look on the traditional finance products, like options, for example, like derivatives, people try to build it similar to the traditional finance. But if you use the first principle and try to rethink, okay, then you could maybe implement it in different manner, what is maybe more efficient. It's what happens with AMM. Where people just were thinking, okay, how can it be solved different manner, not in order book manner, yeah, but something else. And I think the founder of Gnosis came to the formula of Uniswap, X times Y equal a constant. They wrote it in a blog post, and Hayden used it for the Uniswap implementation, and it worked out. Yeah, it's interesting. Like innovations are everywhere from my point of view. You need just maybe to rethink how it can be built, maybe in different manner, different way.
Well, Sergey, it was phenomenal talking to you. I learned a lot. I think we really touched on a lot of great points about where 1inch's has been and where it's going. And congratulations on your team's success and expansion to Solana. And I'm super excited to continue to watch you guys continue to build in the future.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here.
Awesome.